we produce a ton of really great ideas, which is a good demonstration that these kinds of structures and prices and so on can be really useful in motivating a room full of people like this to generate these kinds of ideas, create a Schelling point for some people to find those projects, and then carry them on. Like, obviously, all of these projects will take way more than 10K to do at scale, but 10K is like a little bit to like get started on at least one of them. And hopefully this kind of process will inspire a set of people to go work on the other ones, meaning even if you don't get the 10K, at least if you think the idea is worthwhile enough, a set of you will go and like now pursue it, and hopefully you will find other people in this room or elsewhere that you can think of that could actually go take this on. Either way, we should like publish these ideas somewhere so that other people can take them on. A good example of doing that is when I think Paul Cristiano maybe wrote about impact certificates in the I think Less Wrong forum. A set of us years later were like, whoa, this is a huge idea. Let's actually do them. And now there's entire projects building on them. So just because like, so think of each one of these ideas or each one of these projects as try to push them as far as it makes sense for you, and just get the ideas and conversation out there so that other people can find them and advance them. So very hard. Like all of these ideas are like really good and will advance each of these fields forward. It was really cool to see the voting and so on. We think that there's like a clear need here between both tech trees and academy type things for each of these fields, meaning the longevity and the nanotech ones were both tech tree oriented proposals. The Neurotech one is a learning oriented proposals. You could probably apply those same two models to each one of these focus areas. And so that's like meta feedback for ourselves of saying, hey, maybe we should concretely think of specific tech tree, like stimulating tech trees and stimulating academy type things on each one of these fields. And that's like a really good kind of emergent thing. Kind of like the three that we thought were like most kind of like compelling and likely to work based on the presentation, meaning very concrete, very actionable, like here's how this would kind of advance the field forward, were the molecular 3D printer, the Neurotech Academy, and the succinct X-Hope explanations. The one about the succinct X-Hope explanations, it felt more like that would fit the AI safety category, because a lot of the explanations that were talked about were really about helping people navigate the AI field, at least the examples provided. And it is likely that the existential hope idea like looks qualitatively different, and it might be worth forking that and applying. Like we do think that kind of construction of creating these media that are very succinct, very clear, can help in a bunch of fields, especially AI alignment, just because of how messy it is. But existential hope is like qualitatively very different, and so I would really distinguish the kind of like Critch style, very slow movie and so on that like helps convey the risk of AI, which is kind of more of an existential dread sort of thing than an existential hope sort of thing. And so I would, both of those are important, and I would maybe separate those, or if put together and combined, really think about how to navigate that, because existential hope tends to not get any airtime because dread just consumes human response. Like our brains are tuned for like prioritizing the dread thing and not prioritizing the hope. So to really make space for hope, you almost have to like force yourself to not consider anything that is like dreadful. So anyway, some broad feedback. We discussed it heavily, and we agree with the ranking here. We think the nanotech roadmap to get to the molecular 3D printer is the strongest, highest leverage thing here, meaning we kind of considered if this proposal does not get funded here today, what is going to happen to that? A lot of the other projects have many other participants and groups and fields that are advancing them. And so if some of these other ones do not get funded here, they have a very natural other place to get funded. So for example, the longevity better tech tree thing, this fits like the impetus grants that it's a program entirely oriented towards supporting longevity, or VitaDAO and other things. That's one example. The Neurotech Academy, same kind of thing. There's like lots of groups trying to fund neurotech things, including us, and that probably has a different venue where it can get funded. The nanotech stuff is like most underserved, and it's really cool to see that the entire room agrees that this would be like a very high leverage move forward. So that's what we're deciding to fund on this one. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you for putting in all of your effort into thinking about these proposals, narrowing them down, and then voting on them together. Just like a few questions for feedback for ourselves for the future. Like how you obviously everyone's going to say like, yeah, it's useful. Like, do you want more of these kinds of structures at future like vision weekends? Like raise your hand if you thought like this was like a really great use of time and you absolutely would spend this many hours again. Wow, like that's half the room, which is pretty significant. Cool, that's really useful. Second, do you think this kind of mechanism of synthesizing opinions and then voting and then having some price attached to it should be kind of like scaled to a wider group in the Foresight community or in the PL community where, think of like maybe an ongoing version of this that's just quarterly? A third? Cool. Maybe that proposal needs further thought. Cool. Any other thoughts? All right, awesome. Thank you very much.